Hello and welcome to a 15-minute mobility and stretching session. All right, so we're just gonna dive right in. We're gonna stretch the whole body today, shake off those workouts from the week. Trust me, this is an essential cool down. So we're gonna start off just by rolling our neck. We'll just do it one way a few times. The other way. All right, and then we'll just look from side to side, really stretching it out. This 15-minute session, it can also just be done every day, just to stretch out those muscles. All right, and we're just gonna sit down on those feet. You're gonna plant that hand beside you, and then we're just gonna reach over to the side. Really stretching out that side body, making sure you're keeping yourself like standing up straight rather than hunched over. You really wanna get into that side fully. Holding it here, reaching a little bit further with those fingers. You can add in some little wrist bends here. All right, and then we'll switch sides, reaching over. Make sure you're not holding your breath, you're breathing. I know you guys said you like when I tell you to breathe because you kind of forget to, so make sure you're breathing through this with me. All right, we'll get into a child's pose. This is gonna be an active one, so bring those knees out nice and wide, at least the length of your mat. Bring those arms out, pushing them forward all the way, dropping that forehead on the ground, still walking those arms or those hands out. You really want to reach for the end of the other mat. At the same time, you're pushing your glutes down into your feet. So you really want to activate those lat muscles. Really reaching here. And breathing. Try and walk those hands out a little bit more. Spreading out those fingers nice and wide. All right, slowly coming out of that, we're gonna get into a downward dog position. Letting that head drop. We're gonna bend one knee at a time. We're gonna be walking the dog here, waking up those hamstrings, pushing through those palms of your hands so you can activate those shoulders. Keeping your core engaged and slowly stepping those legs out one at a time. All right, just a few more here. We're going to drop down into a tabletop position. We're going to work on opening up those hips. So we're going to do like a fire hydrant. We're going to bring that hip up and around, bring that knee back to meet, and then we'll do it the opposite way. Stick to one side here. Nice and slow. Remember to keep breathing. We tend to hold a lot of stress in our hips whether we notice it or not. So it's really important to take time to loosen it up, which will also help you get deeper into your squats and just have a better range of motion. All right, last one here. Now we'll switch to the other side. Shaking that off a little bit. Nice and slow, controlled movements to really, again, focus on opening up those hips. And make sure to breathe. All right. We're gonna get into a front lunge, but we're gonna lift that back leg if it feels right for you. So stepping forward, popping yourself up. We're gonna plant that hand on either side of your foot, those hands. I'm gonna lift that one arm, reaching up. Letting ourselves stretch here, keeping that core nice and tight. You should feel those in the glutes, in those hamstrings, and in your quad on the other leg, as well as in your shoulder, your chest, and your back. You're opening it up here. If it feels comfortable for you, drop that lower knee or that back knee. But if not, you can stay propped up. Try and open yourself up a little bit wider, a little more open with that arm. And we have a few more seconds here. Take a nice deep breath. All right, planting that hand back on the ground, dropping that back knee. We're gonna get into a deep lunge. We're gonna push our hips forward here. Really opening up that hip. If this feels good to you, open up that knee, dropping your foot onto the side of your foot and opening up that inner thigh a little bit more. Also, it'll open up your glute and your hip flexor. So you can hold it here, or if that doesn't feel good for you, just keep your foot nice and flat. Keeping your back knee dropped can help you stabilize yourself more so you can focus on opening up that hip flexor a little bit more. My legs are really sore, so this really hurts for me. Good feel, good pain. All right. Whew. We're gonna switch legs, so getting back into that runner's lunge, planting those hands on either side of your foot, popping that knee up, and then opening up that arm. Again, dropping that back knee if it feels more comfortable for you, or keep it propped up. Opening up that chest, bring that arm as far back as you can, looking up at that arm, and then breathing here, keeping that core engaged. Just a few more seconds here. Drop that back knee, get into our deep lunge, pushing those hips forward, sitting here for a second. Again, if it feels good for you, dropping that foot on the side. Still pushing those hips forward. You're opening up that other hip. Breathe. So take some nice deep breaths. Plant it back. All right, let's get into our quad stretch. So bringing back both of those knees together. We're gonna lean back. Plant those hands behind our feet, but we're also gonna prop up our glutes. So you should feel your quads light up the moment you lift them off of your glutes. You might not even have to do that. You can just sit back if that feels really good for you. But if you want that extra stretch, propping those hips up. Keep that core nice and tight. Make sure that you're breathing. Last deep breath here. All right, let's get into a single leg hamstring stretch. So bringing one leg out, keeping the other one on the ground. You're gonna sit back and reach for those toes. So you wanna open up those hamstrings. So make sure that your foot is flexed and that you reach for those toes or that ankle and pulling it towards you. sure you're breathing. Find that sweet spot. All right, and release that. Shake that foot from side to side. All right, let's switch sides to the other hamstring. Take a nice deep breath. All right, let's get onto our back. We'll get onto some back rolls and a little happy baby. So bringing those knees into your chest, rolling it from side to side, letting your head fall back. Rolling. Now, if this feels good to you, you can get into a happy baby. So bring those feet out and grabbing the bottom of your feet. You can also just do your back rolls at the same time, or you can just hold this if this feels good for you. You should feel this in your hip flexors, in your hamstrings, your quads, all your lower body here. And then adding that back roll can just help your lower back, your lumbar, just stretching it out. Bring those legs straight out in front of you. We're gonna get into our glute stretch. So we're gonna bring one knee up into our chest, hug it nice and tight, and then you're gonna rotate to the opposite side, letting your knee drop. You're trying to keep that other leg straight out and extended, and then you wanna extend your arm out to the side and looking with your gaze towards that arm. Really opening up the chest, opening up the glute. Your glutees should be screaming right now if you've been working them good this week. Make sure you're taking a few breaths here. All right, and then coming back to center, giving yourself a nice squeeze. And let's do the other side. So extending that leg, bring that other knee over, looking, look to the side. Drop that knee as far as you can, opening up that glute a little bit more, and then taking a nice deep breath. One more deep breath here. All right. So stand up nice and tall for our last little stretch here. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna bend at those knees, you're gonna grab your legs from behind, give yourself a nice hug, and then you're going to extend those legs, dropping your head, letting it fall. This is just gonna wake up those hamstrings. By you squeezing your legs will open up your back muscles as well. You kind of wanna like pull your upper body away from your legs to open up those lats just a little bit more. So come back, bending those knees, and then straightening them out, pulling those arms away from your body. And letting your head hang. All right, let's take one more deep breath here. Release those arms. Whew. Come up nice and slow, don't do that. I did that a little too fast. Thanks for warming up or cooling down with me. If you need a little bit more time to cool down, rewatch the video, stretch it out, and I will see you on the next workout.